listening to Sports Radio Detroit.
Welcome to Grave Discussions. I am your host, Barnabas.
And I am your co-host, Samael. Welcome to episode number 74. It's all in the family.
Oh yeah, and we were supposed to actually have this episode out for you guys last week, so just to quickly explain, if you didn't read our social media posts, we had an unfortunate corruption issue with the files. Like, as I was editing it got fucked up, and basically we couldn't recover the episode, and we were forced to essentially not have one last week, so this is going to make up for it. We're still going to have partly the discussion that we actually had last time, which was about killer families and horror movies. This time, though, we're going to mix that in with our review of Fox Searchlight's new movie, Ready or Not.
Yes, which we just saw the other day.
Yeah, we literally went, it opened Wednesday, which is like weird for me for a new movie, but...
Oh yeah, it's pretty weird.
But I liked it going at that time, of course. We'll give our opinion on the movie just in a little bit, right after the news. But before we do all that, as always, we have to give a shout out to our host network, Sports Radio Detroit.
And yes, you can find them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Just type in SRD Sports Radio Detroit on any of those platforms. That's SRD Sports Radio Detroit, not Detroit Sports Radio.
That's right, and it's also sportsradiodetroit.com, so you can visit the website, you can see all of the Grave Discussions stuff, and you can listen to all the other great podcasts on the network as well. So go check them out. They've always done right by us, and they're great people. So we are going to get into the meat of the show here in just a moment. First, we've got a few sponsored messages, and then we'll have an uninterrupted show. We're going to debut the new show structure, where we're just going to be focusing on the main discussion, and the other segments we'll have on our website too. So stay tuned. We'll be back shortly with more Grave Discussions. Here at Grave Discussions, we know that addiction can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Detox Helpline help you break your addiction to drugs and alcohol. Call the addiction specialist now at the Detox and Treatment Helpline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
They're always available for you, and if you have private insurance, they specialize in finding you the right treatment. Give them a call at 1-800-213-9257. That is 800-213-9257.
All right, Fred, so the people at Sports Radio Detroit want us to cut a promo for Parsons and Slow.
I want them to cut me a check for Parsons and Slow.
Well, I've Googled some keywords, and I'm going to put them here in a promo. So here it goes. Ready, Fred?
Yeah, analytics away.
Parsons and Slow. We have the content consumers crave. Listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere else that podcasts are available, or we'll kill you. We won't really kill you. Just listen to our podcast, brand new, every Friday on Sports Radio Detroit.
Okay, I'm ready to do the promo.
Oh, that was it.
Hey, Samuel.
Hey, Barnabas, what's up?
Oh, not much. Have you ever written a book?
No, but I've written a musical.
Oh, well, you can become a published author with Dorrance Publishing, the nation's oldest publishing services company.
Aha, I hear countless authors have trusted Dorrance for nearly 100 years to bring their books to the market.
Their professional team will edit your text, design your book pages, and create an appealing, eye-catching custom cover. Plus, their authors benefit from a custom book promotion marketing campaign that makes your book available where people buy books.
So, make this free call right now to claim your free author's guide to publishing. Do not wait another day. Take one step closer to realizing your dream of becoming a published author.
And seeing your name in print.
Aha! You've already written a book. Next thing to do is make this free call now to Dorrance Publishing and get your free guide to publishing. Call right now.
And the number is 1-800-213-9259. Again, 1-800-213-9259. All right, Fright fans. This is slightly older news, I think, from last week. Timo Tjahjanto going to be coming back with a sequel to May the Devil Take You.
Yeah, and the first one was fucking wild as shit. Very reminiscent of The Evil Dead. Mm-hmm. Except, a little bit more modernized, and except this time, their mom was there, and then siblings were getting taken over, and then the mom was taken over, and then a whole bunch of shit was happening. So I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen in the second one, if it's going to be a continuation, or if it's going to be like another family going through it.
Yeah, I do believe it's supposed to, I think, take place either in the same town or with the same people, but I think it's supposed to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
because it's expanding or something. This demonic shit, and I don't know. I'm pretty into it. I really like the movie. I think it made both of our top 10 lists last year. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty exciting news. We don't have any info about a release date or anything like that just yet. But once we do, we'll keep you guys posted. If you've seen it, hopefully, you're really anticipating this one too. So moving on, what do we have next, Sam?
Oh god, so I don't know how his name is pronounced. I'll just say Alexander Aya is directing a choose-your-own-adventure horror movie with the Hill House team. So basically, you're going to be at the theater with your cell phone out, just like you so desperately want to be.
Yeah, we know you all want to check your Facebooks and Instagrams or whatever the fuck. Well, now you get the chance to at least have your phone out. I don't know how it's going to work, but it's going to be a haunted house type choose your own adventure horror film. And I mean, that fact alone is good because you have the team behind Hill House on this movie, and say what you will about the series, but they can do an atmospheric horror movie.
I think so, yeah.
And having the ability to choose what happens next is cool. Again, I don't know how they're going to implement it exactly. Apparently there's going to be an app that you can download on your phone, and then you and everybody else in the theater will get to make decisions. It's being produced, I believe, by Control Movie Technology from Kino Industries, and they're working with Amblin Partners on it. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's interesting. We've never had an experience like that before, really, so at least not that I know of.
The only similar thing I can think of is Black Mirror Bandersnatch, and that's about it.
Yeah, but, you can watch that at home and just click stuff on the remote, and it's that easy. But doing it at a remote location with a whole bunch of other people, and that makes it sound like it's going to be some kind of like majority rules sort of thing.
Yeah, I think so.
So if I already know what's going to happen. If there's like a decision, it's like, kill this person or save this person, everybody's going to choose to kill the person, most likely.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully, the story is a little bit helpful in that aspect. Like, maybe you shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that. So the last article is going to stray a little bit away from the big screen, and we are going to be getting a new series from the original Ghost Hunters stars in October called Ghost Nation.
Yeah, it's gonna have Jason Hawes, Dave Tango, and Steve Gonsalves. They're gonna just investigate these like hauntings that people have been happening, and it's gonna be an hour long each episode. I think they're gonna have about 10 of them, and honestly, I don't like these shows. It's just gonna be another show about like 3 dudes running around an empty house talking to nobody. So
yeah, I feel you. I mean, for some people, I guess they're pretty exciting. It's really hard to accurately say. I mean, most likely, of course, they're planning a lot of this stuff, but I guess it's hard to actually determine that as a viewer. There are some series that kind of will, have like ghosts in there or whatever, but in general, yeah, it's really kind of a lot of the same thing. The coolest part about these shows is actually seeing all these like locations, to me at least. So I wonder where they're gonna go. That should be pretty cool, but yeah, if you're not really that into it, it's just another time slot, honestly, just like wasting time.
I think that's exactly what it's gonna be.
Well, if you guys are interested, be on the lookout for that one coming in October. Next up, we've got a few trailers. We're going to run through them pretty quickly here and then just give kind of our brief thoughts about them. So the first one is called Underwater, starring Kristen Stewart and TJ Miller, of course, because he has to be in a slightly funny movie.
Of course.
And this one is going to be coming out January 10th, 2020 in theaters. And it basically kind of looks like a cross between like something like Leviathan and Aliens.
That's perfect.
Pretty much. So it's like way underwater, people drilling. Looks pretty cool. The next one is Candy Corn.
That one's pretty sick. It's sort of like a supernatural slasher movie. These freaks, quote unquote, are being harassed in their city. One of them gets like killed or beaten to death, something like that. And then they resurrect him, and then there's evil shit going on. And that's coming out September 13th in limited theaters, September 17th on Blu-ray and video on demand.
Yeah, most likely I might actually just snag the Blu-ray.
That's
for
what
this
I'm
one.
going to do, yeah.
And we're definitely going to review it. So
Oh, yeah.
be on the lookout for that one, guys. Coming really soon, actually, just a few weeks. This last trailer is called Antlers. And this is the one that I think has been getting a bit of hype pretty recently.
Oh, yeah.
This one's coming out in 2020, so no firm date. But it is the newest project by director Scott Cooper and Guillermo del Toro.
I'm going to call it, it's going to be released in April.
Okay, that would be interesting.
Let's see.
I mean, I feel like good times for movies is just like when the seasons kind of shift.
Yeah.
You know, that's a fun time because then you start seeing different types of horror. This one I could totally see as like a fall time horror movie too, but yeah, it looks really creepy. It's based off of a short story called The Quiet Boy by Nick Antosca, and I won't really say too much more about it. There's like a sheriff who becomes entwined with this young student, and there's a monster, supposedly, at least as far as we can tell. And yeah, it just looks cool, really creepy, really atmospheric. So I'm pretty excited. And a real like dark horror movie again that Del Toro's coming to. You know, we thought it was going to be scary stories, kind of, but this one I believe is going to have an R rating. So
Most likely. It looks disturbing as shit.
yeah,
It's going to be R-rated for imagery alone.
I hope so. I really do. So that's the trailers, guys. Let us know what you thought about all of these announcements and trailers. You can hit us up in a variety of ways. We'll tell you guys how at the end of the show. But next up, we are going to get into our main segment where we'll be reviewing Ready or Not. So grab a snack, go, I don't know, take a piss break or something, and join us here in just a moment. Welcome back, creeps. So on today's episode, we will be talking about some killer families, but in particular, we're going to be talking about the Ledomoses in the new Fox Searchlight picture, Ready or Not. So right off the bat with the trailer, we pretty much learned that this was going to be one, bloody movie, and two, humorous movie, actually. So it did kind of end up being more of a dark comedy type horror film, which I actually found pretty effective.
Yeah, the brutality kind of reminded me of Monster Party.
Yeah, a little bit. It had similarities to a lot of those types of movies. You know, that was one of the killer, and they're not like a family, but you know, they're their own kind of like little group or whatever. But
Yeah, kind of similar to You're Next.
that movie, yeah, You're Next, had a lot of similarities. You know, it's kind of a new trend which we sort of discussed in the episode that got lost, unfortunately. But you know, it started with all these like hillbilly type of, you know, family killer movies and stuff like that, and then as time progressed, we started seeing more in like these big, like, you know, wealthy people's mansions and all these like suburban homes and everything like that. I think just kind of a product of the times, you know, especially probably with some kind of socio-political, I don't know, indications, like, you know, we're starting to really kind of fight against the 1% and everything like that.
Yeah,
So,
this whole fucking woke generation.
yeah, and that's kind of what Ready or Not is in essence. Like, that's a big message here. but I'm pretty sure it's set in the modern day. But yeah, it involves this girl Grace, portrayed by Samara Weaving, who is getting married into the family of the Ladomoses, who are these like rich game makers or something like that. And
they're basically like Mattel or Hasbro.
yeah, essentially, like in this world. And they're, rich elite, and they do weird things. And that's kind of where the story of the film like takes off. And I think that was probably one of the better aspects. Like, it wasn't completely a new thing, but I think it still executed it, pretty well.
I think it was done well. Comedy was perfect. It wasn't like too try-hardy. It all came like really naturally. Mm-hmm. It took a bit for the movie to like take off in terms of like how exciting it got. Because at first it tried to like build a whole bunch of suspense, as if we didn't know what was already going on, even though because they revealed everything in the trailer. Like, so we're just waiting for the reveal, and then I don't really want to spoil it, but Grace starts playing hide and seek. She gets found, and then some shit starts going down.
Yeah, essentially. I will say I was still pretty into the movie right from the beginning, still, which for a lot of movies is hard until you get really into it. Mm-hmm. We saw that kind of with like Child's Play and some other movies like that this year. But this one was cool just because it had that humor element. I found it pretty funny from the get-go. Like, I would say maybe toward the middle or end of the movie, some of the writing started becoming a little bit like ham-fisted to me, and
I think so, yeah.
And in general, it had that kind of cheesy sort of humor to it. Like, it knew it was a dark comedy, and yeah, there's just a lot of like, fuck and stuff like that thrown around like constantly. It's like, I get it. I don't really think that that's how people actually talk, honestly.
No.
But whatever, it was fine. But certain characters were actually pretty funny, like the entire movie. So even from the beginning, like with the aunt or whatever.
Yeah, she was hilarious.
She was the best. So
she was so fucking hardcore.
She was, even from the start of the movie, like her scowling and everything, like it kind of made me crack up. And then once it really like got into it, I was like, all right, cool, I'm into this.
Oh yeah.
And importantly, like the whole movie theater felt like that too, I think, because everybody was kind of laughing along and sort of into the movie. So I think that that's pretty important. So essentially, yeah, the comedy elements I think really worked out. They never really lost too many beats. I think they kept like a pretty good mixture of the comedy and, exciting, gory action. And that was definitely one of the other big things about this movie too, was the gore. I mean, do you think that played well into it?
I think so. All the gore was fine for me. Like, it wasn't anything I haven't seen before. And again, it wasn't too extreme. Except at the end, you know what I mean, with the blood explosions.
Yeah.
I thought that was like, okay, we could have gone without that.
I mean, possibly. It was like slightly cheesy, but I think, even with how the dialogue got a little hammier and so on, I think it was really just kind of this like build up from the beginning of the movie. Like, they really wanted to not let up ever.
Oh yeah.
Like, one thing kind of heads atop the other thing. So I feel like it just got more and more extreme and more kind of like over the top as it was playing into the whole sort of like game angle that the movie was presenting, or that the plot was presenting, especially with the whole like stipulations behind the game and what was going on and everything like that. So I guess they felt like they just had to get crazier. I don't know if it was ultimately like the right decision. Like, I'm glad the ending involved what it did, more or less. Like I told you, I think after we left the theater, I was like, I'm glad they still did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it may have gotten a little too over the top.
I think that was the only part that was a little bit over the top. And the whole ritual thing, I mean, we kind of assume like the elites are like sort of devil worshippers, but like they didn't try to make it like ambiguous, because at one point they're like straight up.
Yeah.
That's what was kind of really okay, that's all question mark for me,
It was a little typical. Like, I will say it's not like the most innovative movie ever. I think they took this sort of idea about what they wanted for it, and I think they executed it ultimately pretty well. But yeah, it's not like we haven't seen this kind of thing before in some fashion, you know, because it basically, like, I don't like comparing like this, but, you know, it kind of has the feel of You're Next.
It really
and
did.
then plus something like, I don't know, like Cheap Thrills, which I don't know if you've seen, but kind of also like a dark comedy. They keep doing like crazier and crazier stuff for more money, basically, is how that movie goes. So it's kind of like a mixture of something like that. And the cool thing is just that we have Samara Weaving running around in a wedding dress playing a dangerous game of hide and seek, you know, but the tone of the movie, like, it's not super new. You know, we've seen stuff like this before. And then yeah, they still for some reason cling onto those stereotypical things. But, you know, there were little subtle hints that I feel like at least to me kind of indicated that they were trying to do some kind of like homage or something like that. Like, I'm pretty sure there was a Easter egg. Someone said some line of dialogue about like some 80s horror movie. I forget exactly what it was now. So I don't know if you caught it, but there were a few things like that here and there.
I don't think I caught it, no.
Okay. I'll have to like find out what it was, but yeah, like if you guys go see it, keep your eyes and ears open for that kind of stuff, basically. But so yeah, I think that they were trying to show some love at times, so maybe they were like, oh, let's just go with this. You know, it's not a big deal if it's a little too cliche or anything like that, because the whole movie is supposed to be like fun and lighthearted, sort of. I don't know. I don't really like that decision too much ever, you know. I mean, if you're really trying to emulate like a movie like Lost After Dark or something, or like Trick or Treat maybe, then yeah, because it kind of goes along with it. But I think they could have made a few better decisions here. Ultimately, it was structured well, like it was done pretty well.
I agree, and for me, like, the acting was like a big thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Samara killed it. What's his name? Adam Brody killed it. He's like, you know, discount James Franco, you know what I mean? Which could have worked. I think they could have picked James Franco for that role and it would have been just as great. He's like the nonchalant family member who just kind of like thinks everyone there deserves to die, and he doesn't give two shits about his like wife or whatever, or his like siblings, or then they could have got Seth Rogen to play that fat fucking guy that married into their family.
Yeah, that would have been great. That might have been making it a little too much like, yeah, this is a comedy. You know? But I think these guys are both funny and dramatic, or capable of pulling off those performances.
Oh, yeah.
So Adam Brody especially is cool. You know, he was in Jennifer's Body, Scream 4.
He was in Scream 4?
Shazam. Apparently, I can't like recall who he was in that, but he probably had a small role.
He probably did. I'm not sure.
I'm not 100% sure, but he was on the OC. Mr. You know, he's been in a bunch of stuff. That dude's great. But Mark O'Brien as Alex, the husband of Samara Weaving's Grace, I think actually did a good job too. You know, he excelled, I think, at showing the emotion quite well, and he was good in like the few action scenes that he was in, so he did okay. Samara Weaving, for me, only the standout behind probably Nikki Guadagni, if that's how you pronounce her name, as Aunt Helene. I don't know, she was just fucking hilarious.
She was, and she was like so over the top with her emotions, especially like when that dead chick kept making noise.
Oh yeah, no, there were just a lot of great scenes with her, honestly. So you guys will have to let us know what you think about her character. But Samara Weaving, probably my new like celebrity crush, honestly. Just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, she's badass.
Great. I loved her in The Babysitter, and then she's also supposed to be in that Guns Akimbo movie with Harry Potter.
I've heard of it, yeah.
But I think she's playing like a villain once again, so I'm excited. But she did great in this movie. You know, she kind of had the role of like Erin in You're Next, except she wasn't like a survivor chick. She kind of just had that like lucky final girl factor to her. So maybe another throwback to, you know, the 80s movies, I don't know. But her character was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't like anything revolutionary, you know, but I think she did a good job like leading the movie. So yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to say about it, Sam? Final thoughts.
I think Samara did a great job. I think the movie was well paced. It kind of like, it didn't really keep you wondering what was going to happen if because we saw the trailer already. I was just more concerned as if Grace was gonna actually kill anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fun to go along with her journey and see her progression as she tries to survive and everything like that.
You see the look in her face, like, get progressively, like, more and more crazy throughout the film, though. I like how they did that. At first, she was like, happy bride, and then as soon as shit's going on, worried, and then, like, after a while, she just fucking lost it completely, and then, like, at the end, complete nervous breakdown, like, close to no emotion, and then, in-laws, like...
I think, like, the more times you just get, like, closer to death, or you, like, skirt death, you probably just, become a lot more, I don't know what the word is, maybe not nonchalant.
I was thinking about that word.
Like, you're just like, yeah, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
So, I think she carried it well. And ultimately, I found the movie really enjoyable. It kept me at the edge of my seat.
It was extremely entertaining, I'll give it that.
Yeah. It
wasn't boring at all. There was no point of it that was boring.
Yeah, figuratively at the edge, because we had recliners. So.
Oh, yeah, well, we're lazy pieces of shit.
Of course. But it was thrilling. I was into what was going to happen in the movie. The practical effects, when they came up, were done well. There was nothing super extreme, nothing super crazy. If you're not really like for seeing blood, you might want to avoid it. But other than that, it was a fun time. Not meant to be taken seriously.
And you get to see a kid get punched in the face. So
oh yeah,
5 stars.
There you go. I will say, if I had to give it a score out of 5, I'd probably give it like a 3.8 or like a 4.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So found it pretty good. Probably not my favorite movie of the year, but the year's not over yet.
We still got It Chapter 2 coming up.
Of course. I got a bunch of good stuff coming out, guys. So we are going to discuss all those movies and more great horror content on the show in future weeks. Subscribe to us on all of our channels, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever. Bookmark our website. You can also find us on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Grave Discussions, and Twitter at Gravedisc SRD. And that's going to wrap it up for episode 74.
We'll see you boils and ghouls next week on Grave Discussion. We're going to be hula hooping.
This has been an SRD production.